good Sunday morning to you all out there, and welcome into the final draft film review episode of the Mark and Brown Show for the year. I'm Jacob, Mr. Casey Kinnaman, and Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you, as always, by our friends over at Homage Apparel. Go check them out. I got the faded Brownie the Elf shirt. The Denzel shirt is pretty freaking sweet. So go over to Homage Apparel, check them out. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give this thing a thumbs up and tell your friends, tell your mom, and even fuck it, tell your enemies. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing good, man. I got up early. Good, nice, crisp, cool weather. I got my steps in. Went out for a walk in the park with my wife. Then we stopped and had like brunch. Like that's something I never do. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about myself on a Sunday.
Okay, I'm fresh off the David Njoku softball game yesterday, which was a great time in East Lake. Shout out to Lake County Captains. They got a nice little ballpark over there, and it was just really neat to see so many former friendly faces. We had Jacoby Brissett in the house, Josh Gordon in the house, Jabril Peppers, Mac Wilson, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt put on a little home run derby show between him and Travis Kelce. It was a lot of fun. I've never been there before, seen a ton of videos. It's worth it, and it was pretty cheap to go to too. I think tickets were starting at like $25, something like that, which aren't really that doesn't seem too bad. Definitely worth your time.
Well, I got a question. So, out of everyone, there was someone you did not expect to see that caught you off guard.
Yeah, Ronnie from Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah, I saw that he was there, yeah.
Dude, still looks the same. You know, he got the same hairdo that he did then. It just is tan, and I don't know how he got roped into the David Njoku. Maybe there's like a Miami connection there that I'm not sure of. But because you could definitely see that David, David's really casting a web out there, and it's cool to see. I think Casey was saying that like Njoku's become the man the other day, and it's so true. So that was neat, and just like you could tell, like Travis Kelce really wanted to be there. He was showboating a little bit, throwing the arms up, getting the crowd going. The heights high stuff was neat to see, and I just I thought it was really awesome that so many guys that even if they're not Browns anymore, like I was watching Jabril Peppers and Mac Wilson play catch because like they were teammates with the Browns and then they were teammates with the Patriots, and I know Mac's in Arizona now. But like that was kind of cool to see, and just like having Josh Gordon out there and watching him talk, and then him and Deshaun were yucking it up, and I was just like my brain was just thinking about what type of connection that could have been, and just it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And Nick Chubb comes out, of course, to like the loudest ovation of all, and just see him have fun. And it's like, of course, then immediately it's like Kareem and Nick are right next to each other, and like you can see there's a lot of friendships there out on the field, and that they all wanted to be there. Like it didn't look like anybody was like, oh, I got to be at the softball game. It was like they were legitimately enthused, and like Jacoby Brissett's, getting love from the crowd. That was a lot of fun too. So it was a really fun experience, and you get all those guys in a setting that's not football, and they just kind of get to let loose a little bit, and so I just enjoyed the whole thing.
So today we wrap up the draft pick film review series. If you've missed any of them and you want to see the other ones, if you go to our YouTube homepage and scroll down, it is one of the playlist videos. You get the videos. There's a playlist for this. There's a playlist for the position review series. And I believe next week, as we begin to start a new series, we will be bringing some guests on for all, 14 opponents that we have coming up this year. So we're going to get someone that covers and follows that team to come on and join with us as we start a series previewing the 2024 opponents. So that'll be on the YouTube. But if you go to the YouTube homepage, you can find all these series categorized into what's going on lately. But we got Jowon Briggs today, the last of the draft picks. And the one that if you put a gun to my head right now and said, of these 6 who are making the roster and who are not, Jowon Briggs is probably the guy that I leave off. And honestly, it's not because he's a bad player. Like, I think he's okay. Like, I see the appeal, and we're going to get into that in a second, but it's just a very, very crowded room. Now, they did cut Peavy. a couple of days ago and added another guard. So they have removed one defensive tackle from the roster, although they've got like 12 other ones that could make it's a ridiculous. They were like, we're going to bring in all the offensive linemen and all the defensive linemen we possibly can for camp, and we're going to go through that. So we're going to start with Briggs. I'll give you the measurables on him first. So he's about 6'1.5", 313 pounds, 32.25 inch arms. He's got a 78 and a 3/4 inch wingspan. He ran a 5 flat in the 40-yard dash, a 7.33 cone. He had a vert jump of 26 inches, which I know that doesn't sound crazy, but for a dude that's like 6'1 and 313 and built the way Briggs, that's kind of impressive. He can get 26, jump a couple of feet into the air. But he had an 8.8 broad jump, ends up with a 7.26 relative athletic score, which a guy at that size, you can see it a little bit, sees there. So I'll kick it to you, Casey, and down to you, Nick. Just some initial thoughts here on Jowon Briggs. Defensive tackle from Cincinnati. Did I say that? No.
Well, and he started his career at the University of Virginia. So when you're going back and watching film of this dude, he had 5 different numbers.
Yeah.
Like every time I looked at it, he had a different number. He's a short area explosive player. When you watch him in like phone booth scenarios, he's super explosive. Like my favorite, I've watched a lot of Jowon Briggs this week. My favorite play is against Oklahoma State. There's a guard pulling across his face. He throws him into the running back. I mean, it's just a car crash like that. Like he's a very explosive player in short area, not going to wow you with like long speed. I mean, obviously, if you stepped in your living room, 6'1", 313 is big. But for NFL standards, that's not very big. You know, the 6'1", he's a shorter stature player. And sometimes he gets caught playing big man game, which I don't think works at the next level for him. But I'm excited to see how they use him just because I've heard some things this week that they're looking to change some alignment stuff up where they run a 3-tech with a 1 shade. And when I look at this roster, I only see one shade, and that's Dalvin Tomlinson. Maybe Siaka, if he made that step. Do they see Briggs as like a spark plug version of that? Maybe so I don't know. It's interesting. I'm interested to hear what you guys think of him.
I think the first thing that is apparent to me when I look at Jowon Briggs is power. He just sometimes he just gets up in one of these offensive linemen's face and just pushes them right the hell back. That's really cool to see. He's got a subtle little swim move. Saw him use that a couple times to get after the quarterback. There's a little bit of pass rush there, but I just think overall it's like you can see that there's some times where the offensive linemen are trying to move this guy out of his spot, and he's not going anywhere. Jowon is a very sturdy stature type player, and that sticks out to me too. He's if he gets his hands on you, you're going down. That's something I saw. He looks to be now. He's not always going to get. He doesn't seem the most. Casey, to your point, he doesn't seem the most fleet of foot. But if the run's coming right there, I feel like he's a sure tackler. He's a guy that's going to take up some space, that's going to allow teammates around him, especially the linebackers, to get to where they need to go because it's really hard to move him. And so that was cool. I saw him fight through some combo block type situations, and that was fun. He just seems like a guy that he's not like overly flashy, impressive, but he just he's a solid. He looks to me to be a solid defensive tackle.
Yeah, you're not going to run directly at him a lot. Like, he's definitely someone that can play. Here's the thing. His hands are wildly inconsistent, but when he plays with good leverage and uses his hands, he's strong and sturdy enough to anchor. It's just very inconsistent the way he does it. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's got that club swim move that he flashes here and there. I wish he would use it a little bit more, I think, because I think it's pretty effective when he does use it. He's got the upper body strength to anchor when he plays with good. That's my biggest issue with him is his leverage. He's so inconsistent, and a lot of it has to do with he's not as long as you would want a nose. Like, because that's kind of where I'm looking. Not necessarily a nose, but an interior. It's not just plain nose, but he lacks overall length and size. So he has to work harder on technique. And that's kind of where I think he still needs some refinement as a result. And like, I think he can get there. I do. I think there is a good defensive tackle there. He's a perfect stash him on the practice squad and let him work with Jim Schwartz and Jacques there and, work on some of these technical things because he just doesn't have the physical size traits and length that you want from a prototypical player. But Casey, I really like what you said. Man, in a phone booth, this dude will get off the line of scrimmage. And I want to read you some of his splits because they're crazy. And I'm just talking about his splits from the last 3 years at Cincinnati in 21, 22, and 23. So in 22, he plays 154 snaps in the B gap, plays 183 over tackle and 139 outside. So I watched some of those games there. He has been lined up as a defensive end more than he should because I know he's explosive and that sort of thing. He just doesn't have a plethora of pass rush moves. And so when I saw some of that, and then this year they played him 308 snaps over tackle. Why like that doesn't play to this guy's strengths. Like I want him a little bit more inside. I need him to be more inside on that because his best year was 2023 where he played 400 snaps in A gap and 200 snaps in B gap. Last year, they put him in the A gap for 8 snaps. I was absolutely blown. I'm like, what are you doing? Like that in no way aligns with his skill set. That was if you go and just watch his tape in 2023, you're going to be like, I don't want this guy anywhere near my team. And it's like, because they played him in just awful situations. Like, I don't know which, we always knocked Joe Woods for trying to force his players into his system. That's what happened to Briggs last year in Cincinnati, in my mind. Because in 2022, he had a 77 overall PFF grade. He had, 11, he had 5 sacks. It's like he did some things that you want him to do. And then this year they put him in there and put him more outside. And, he had a 7% pass rush win rate. So it wasn't terrible or anything like that. But he can be very explosive off the line of scrimmage. And if you can fix his leverage and hand placement, I think you've got something because I see it in spurts. It's just inconsistent. And he just can't fall back on bully ball at the next level because he's just not big enough. Now, will he be able to bully some off it? Yes, of course. Yeah. But not at the rate that he did at Cincinnati. And as a result, you look at a guy that you just need to refine the technical things so that he can supplement for some of the things that he lacks in physical traits.
Yeah, you touched on it. And it's what I meant earlier when I said he gets stuck playing big man game when he just doesn't have the frame for that. And at the next level, that's going to make for a lot of long Sundays if you try to play that way. He needs to rely more on his leverage. You're only 6'1". You can use that to your benefit. You can use that to be the guy up under the pads. And he is hard to uproot, man. He's got good, solid chop steps when he's engaged with a guy. There were even plays like this is something fun I thought about. We always like Michael Hall at fullback. I could see Jowon Briggs at fullback. That is something I could see.
I don't hate that at all.
There was one play where like when you run a stunt, whether it's a twist or you're running Texas, basically he's on the line and he's supposed to bend back to the left as someone cuts across his face and running a stunt. He actually kept his shoulders parallel line and shifted to the side like a linebacker would and was right in the A gap when the running back got there and he was dead to rights. You know what I mean? He's got some weird physical abilities. I know he's tremendous, track and field as well. Like he's got that kind of explosive nature to him. It's just finding ways to let him utilize that because if you play him like Cincinnati did, he's gonna get washed out. Yeah. And just given where this defensive tackle room is currently, I don't see a spot for him today. But if you can get this young man on the practice squad, let him develop some things as your defense is changing. If they are really looking to change alignments, now I doubt that's a full-time thing as well. But remember when Jim Schwartz first got here, he said his plan was to rush 5.
Yeah.
We rarely saw that. Rarely. They were a 4 rush team primarily. But if you change alignments and you're kicking a guy down the nose, maybe you move Za'Darius to 4-eye and you have Ogbo on the outside and you can play with some alignment fronts. He's a guy you can play with. He's got some good athleticism. He's strong at the point of attack. What I like most about Briggs, though, was his closing speed when he does have a guy dead to rights. Like when the play's there to be made and he's got the lane to make it, he makes the play. Now, there's a couple things that need to change for him to get to that part. But I do see the base. I see why they wanted to bring him in. And way the defensive tackle room is, maybe he could play a role later. But early on, I think that the best case scenario is try to get this young man the practice squad.
If I'm not mistaken, he did some crazy amount of bench press reps. Like, you can definitely see the strength he has. But you both referenced just like how many defensive linemen we have. I think, would you say it's fair that Siaki Ika and Jowon Briggs would fill the same type of role on the, like, if either one of them was out there, would you guys say that's fair?
I don't know what Siaka is.
Yeah, he did 39 reps at the bench press.
Whew.
He did 39. He did near 39 reps of 225.
That's very high.
You said that, and I was like, I think I remember that, and I was like, I need to go back and check it real quick because I hadn't checked it in a while. Yeah, 39 at 6'1", 30. Like 6'1" is in the 274 on the relative athletic score scale. Like, so he is definitely smaller, but like he got a 9.86 on the bench by getting 39 reps. So 39 reps is apparently not a perfect 10, which is insane to me, but that's a lot, man. That is some upper body strength. If you can find a way to highlight in really highlights, find a way to maximize that. And find a way to, or I even think about calling it weaponize his strength. Find a way to really highlight it and use it because it's there.
Yeah.
Well, it was a different defensive line group, but they weren't able to do that with Togiai. Sounds kind of similar, doesn't it?
Yeah,
well, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. So you both have mentioned the practice squad. I feel like that would be an ideal situation, is like you get this guy there. And they just had as far as developing defensive linemen have gone, that's kind of been a position that they've more went to free agency and found the guys that they need that way. Aside from Elliott, who's in San Francisco now. So maybe Briggs is the guy that because you picked later, because of the constitution of the team this year, that you could sneak. Like, I'm not sure that I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of diverse opinions out there on every prospect, but it feels reasonable to say that you could sneak him to the practice squad and like give him some time to develop. No?
Yeah, unless he flashes something crazy during the preseason and makes a name for himself.
Okay, sure.
But short of that, I'm sure. I mean, there was a reason he was available at 243.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I just think here's the guy that is the most primed practice squad candidate for the team in this, compared to everything else. And yeah, just stash him and try to refine some of it because he's got some traits. And if you can find a way, like I'm telling you, if he could just fix the leverage inconsistencies, which kind of work with the hand placement issues and usages, they kind of go, pun intended, but they go hand in hand. And you get them together. If you can fix some of that, that's a player. That's an average player that can get snaps. Like, I think it's there. So he's going to be another one. These practice squad, borderline practice squad guys are the guys that in what the preseason's all about, man.
Yeah.
Go out there and show, hey, I got some traits. I can show you flashes. Go out there and show flashes and earn a spot to grow and become a better player. And I think that's the Briggs spot. I have a fun game to play to end this episode.
Let's go.
It's called What Popular Movie is Trash?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you guys. I shouldn't even say what popular movie is trash, because what I'm going to say doesn't. I have a reason, and it's not. What popular movie did you either not finish or hated, but everybody loved it? Like I give you an example. This is not my answer. I have not finished Inception because I think it's trash.
Oh, wow.
It's confusing, it's dumb, and not entertaining.
It's convoluted. Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example. I'm not gonna go crazy into it. That's just an example. So I'll start with you, Nick. What is a movie that is very well popular, very well received, even if it's just around your friend group, that you either couldn't finish or you watched it and you were like, I don't get it?
I went to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with one of my friends who's a huge just Marvel head, and like they just can't do anything wrong in his eyes. So respect that. I finished that movie and I just laughing at the plot holes. I don't remember exactly the motivation. Something happens at the end.
The zombie Strange.
That part's pretty weird, yeah.
That was weird too.
Definitely a Sam Raimi movie, that's for sure.
I only saw it in theaters the one time, right?
Mm.
So it's been a couple of years now. So I don't remember. I'm sorry, I can't give you the concrete reasons for why.
There are some plot holes. There's some very well-known plot holes.
But I was just like, absolutely not. This is not good. I loved the first Doctor Strange. This what happened? What is going on? Ever since Infinity War ended, like they had the Spider-Man movie. So I guess I'll just expand this. Most of the movies that they have released, aside from Spider-Man, really, post Infinity War, are all just in the dumpster bin. Like them and DC are having a mid-off to figure out who could release worse movies, and I think Marvel's winning right now.
I will say though that Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians, that was a saving.
I did. Okay, yeah, you're right. I
but
saw
most
it.
of
They
them
needed
have
that, buddy.
Most of them have been
no disrespect to Guardians. They're my favorite group, and
yeah.
So yeah. I just think they just in an overall conversation. I feel like Disney just like put out. It's too much. It never stops. There's no break or breather or anything. Because it's like they did Infinity War, and then they're like, okay, here's every show, and I really liked Loki. Right. But it's like they just won't. There's no like, let something breathe for a second, guys. Let's think about it for a second. Because how many origin stories can you watch before you're just like, okay, it's too much. They just need to take a break. That and Star Wars, all that, the whole new trilogy. No, thank you.
All right, Casey, you're up.
All right. For those unaware, in a previous life, I was a manager of a movie theater. Your boy can shit on some movies. So where do I start here?
Oh, no.
The movie that I was in and got the maddest at and just had to walk out was the second Transformers. They're in the garage and Bumblebee started crying. I was done. We're not doing this. Like this is, I see what you're about to do to my childhood. I'm not having it. But if I could pick one movie that I could be like, why do you guys care? Avatar. Avatar is Dances with Wolves in an aquarium.
Yes, it is. It's the exact same plot. They fucking ripped it off.
Yeah, but it's the most until Avengers came along, it was the highest grossing movie of all time. I don't get it. Now, also, I worked upstairs in the theater when that movie was there. We'd play it. It started at 10 after 10. That bitch did not wrap up till almost 1:30 in the morning after all the previews. I grew to hate that movie so much. And it never left. We played that thing for it felt like 9 months. You know what I mean? So if I had to pick one movie that I could tell everyone, I don't get the appeal, it was trash, Avatar.
Are you ready?
No.
Dune. I couldn't finish it. I tried and I tried. It was boring. It was slow. They acted like you should understand who all of these people are. They didn't explain nothing. They're like, this guy's coming. And everybody goes, gasp. But who the fuck is that guy? I don't know. I don't understand any of it. I got like an hour and change into it, and it was so brutal. I was like, this is awful. I am all for everybody who loves it. I'm so happy everybody who loved it loves Dune 2, because it sounds like for the people that were into it, it didn't disappoint. I love when that happens, when something is massively hyped and it pays off, because a lot of the Infinity War saga was like that for me. Like Infinity War was there, Endgame, it was like so much build up, but they didn't disappoint. They were exactly what it is.
Yep.
but my God, I couldn't even finish Dune. It was just okay.
I feel like when a movie is based on a book, especially in the beginning of it, they just like try to do all of this world building that you can do in a book, but you just don't have time for in a movie. And I feel like most of the time that ruins it because it's like they just throw so many things at you at once. And like I've never read any Dune books, so I watched the first movie and I was like, what is
exactly
right? I did get through it. Like it does get interesting as it goes. And I did really think that Dune 2 was better. Like they really get into their groove there, and like all of a sudden it's just this world. Like I'm a huge Mad Max guy, and the world building that they did in Mad Max is very similar to what they did in Dune 2. And like you really get that gritty, survival-y world of it, and like just the different factions and all of that. Like I love that. But in Dune 1 I agree that they do not do it. They just try to throw too much at you. Hot take, Casey?
No, I think you are articulated it perfectly. There is so much world building in the beginning of Dune 2, not the whole movie, but I'd say 2/3 of that movie is setting up what is everything. This is the world we live in. These are the families. This is the power struggle. This is the shit they're after. These, you know what I mean? There's just so much of that, but then they funnel it in, and by the time you get to 2, it's streamlined and it's the story. But that's a good take. That is, and I enjoyed it. But I also saw the first Dune. My dad took me to the theater when I was 5 and watched the first Dune.
Wow!
So like I already had like a base level of knowledge. So when I watched the reboot, I didn't feel like I was swimming. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
I've actually seen it a few times, but I could see where that would happen.
I don't want to go too far down this tangent, but so Casey told me that I need to watch the original Mad Maxes because I saw Fury Road and I was in love, and I've seen Furiosa, and that's really good too. So I watched the first Mad Max from like 1979. And I just didn't realize it was going to be like that's a cop movie.
So car chase movie,
right? And I was like, what? After seeing Fury Road and like going like everything is burned, everything is fire, and like just watching this car chase movie in Australia, I was like, what is happening?
How did this get to that?
How did that grow into this?
You got to see the second one. You got to watch Road Warrior now.
I'm
Road
about
Warrior will
through.
expand. Road Warrior, you'll start to see how they bridge the gap from that.
Yeah.
And then you got to see Beyond Thunderdome, the third one, man. Mad Max 3.
Yeah, I'm getting there slowly but surely.
It's probably a good place to wrap this back.
Right. Hey, I just want to say, the subs have been growing, the views have been growing, the likes have been growing. If you have Amazon Prime, please click that button on Twitch. If you just like free stuff, click subscribe or like. And we respond to your comments on YouTube too. So with that being said, we have this is the entirety of the draft class. And now we're gonna get on more position groups, more position group talk as we move forward.
Linebacker.
Here we go. That's saucy.
Linebacker Tuesday.
Talk a little Devin Bush, maybe. You never know.
There's some Devin Bush buzz going on.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, this has been a Sunday complete Browns draft class review of the Barking Browns show. I'm Nick. He's Casey. That's Jacob. Go Browns.
Hey, new episodes of The Boys this week.
Bang.